Peg White, and I'm coming to you from St. Paul's Catholic Church with a ministry called The Wise Woman Builds Her Home, from Proverbs 14:1. We ladies come together to try to learn how to be godly wives. It's so important to know what the Word says about that. So tonight, our topic is not an easy one. It's on contentiousness. You know, as we talk about searching the Bible about contentiousness, let's remember that we are here to learn how to be godly wives. God's ways are not our ways, nor His thoughts our thoughts. The only way we can really know how to be a godly married woman is to study His Word. Let's see what He has to say about it. And believe me, He has quite a bit to say about this topic. All women are not contentious, but some of us have leanings that way. I find that much of what the Bible has to say about women is anti-cultural in this society. Women seem to think that being a man's equal is to fighting to the death on every issue. The emphasis appears to be on my rights as an equal person and not on serving. Marriages tend to become a battleground where many wars are fought. But let me come back to this. I want to take you to Sirach, and let's see what he has to say about wisdom. All wisdom comes from the Lord, and with Him it remains forever and is before all time. James 1:5. But if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, who gives to all generously and without reproach. Proverbs 12:4. An excellent wife is the crown of her husband, but she who brings shame is like rottenness to his bones. So a godly wife does not just adorn herself, she adorns her husband. She is a crown of glory. She does this as a virtuous woman. And this is precious in part because it's rare. If it were easy, more would be happy to be virtuous. So at the heart of all adorned and adorning wife is her deep and abiding fear of God. The woman was made to be the glory of the husband. What does it look like when she's not? We have a clear indication of, in one of the verses I've already cited, she is either a crown to her husband or she is rottenness to his bones. Proverbs presents both wisdom and folly to us under the figure of a woman. The Bible repeats a warning about contentiousness and contentious wives in a number of different ways. So let's talk about contentiousness. What is the definition of it? Causing or likely to cause an argument. Controversial. Words that are used to describe a contentious person. Argumentative. Quarrelsome. Confrontational. Factious. Combative. Ready for a fight. Defiant. Hostile. Antagonistic. Belligerent. Militant. Warring. Battling. Let's look at Proverbs 21:19 now. It is better to live in a desert land than with a contentious and vexing woman. So it's better to live in a desert with the jackals and the wolves than to live with a contentious, angry woman. It's pretty serious, ladies. Proverbs 27:15-16. Living with a contentious woman is like listening to a non-stop drip on a rainy day. He who would restrain her restrains the wind and grasps oil with his right hand. Think you're going to fix that leak? Good luck. So a constant dripping on a day of steady rain and a contentious woman are alike. Doesn't sound too good. Proverbs 25:24, and you'll notice I'm throwing a lot of scripture at you, but there is so much said on this subject. I think God's trying to get our attention, ladies. This proverb says it's better to live in the corner of an attic than to share a house with a nagging wife. Proverbs 14:1. A wise woman builds her house, but the foolish woman tears hers down with her own hands. And that's our motto for this ministry, because we want so much to be godly women, to live by God's word, and not be the kind of woman that they're talking about, contentious. Now I want to share with you what one husband actually wrote down. It really caught my attention because it was sad and so serious. The first thing he says about her is many things that happen in her life will be portrayed as your fault. Second, she will blame you for the poor marital relationship that is actually the result of her contentiousness. And three, she will believe she has a right to be contentious towards you because of a combined view that A, you are not good enough for her, and B, she is superior to you. This is one reason that trying to stop her from being contentious will not work. She cannot tolerate any person, any perceived criticism, especially from someone she considers inferior. For what you do will never be enough. Number 5, she will not change based on your urgings. Only God can do this. So don't try to persuade her to understand what she's doing to you and to your relationship. But you can ask God to open her eyes to what she is doing. Now, ladies, if you, like me, have leanings this way, you may not be quite as bad as I've been describing. We hope. But you can ask God. You can ask His help to take you out of this terrible situation that you yourself are putting yourself in. He goes on to say, since a contentious woman is close to a scoffer, a mocker, she will not respect you, but lean towards publicly shaming you. Remember what we said earlier? This will feel like rottenness to your bones. Her controlling nature seeks to prevent you from being yourself, but rather seeks to make you conform to her will. And because her contentiousness is inside her and not about you, you're just the most relevant and convenient target. She will randomly be upset with things in her life and be grouchy about them. If she asks your opinion, she's looking for you to give the answer that she wants to hear. And she may take the opposite side of any answer you give her. There is an underlying sense that she really only cares about herself and not you, which from a human perspective makes loving her feel as though it's not worth the effort. You know, God has a different perspective on this. We'll get to it. The root cause of all her contentiousness is a strong drive to conform to the world, to her changing and arbitrary desires, based on an inner drive to get what she wants, and with an underlying sense of entitlement to get what she wants. What does this husband's words say about his wife? Is it all about me? Selfish? Full of pride? Ungodly? Wounded heart? Perhaps a heart wounded from issues that actually have nothing to do with her husband, but he is a target for her vengeance. Could it be that some of this is his fault? Perhaps he is selfish, not listening and not caring. That could be so. But where does she get being contentious? You know, boundaries in marriage would actually show her how to handle this. I've often brought that up. Boundaries in Marriage by Cloud and Townsend. I cannot recommend it enough, especially for married women. So now we'll talk about Proverbs 21:23. And this is where we need to take a good look at this, ladies. He who guards his mouth and his tongue guards his soul from trouble. And one of the things that God asks of us ladies, married ladies, is to respect our husbands. Ephesians 5:33. Nevertheless, each one of you must also love his own wife as he loves himself. And the wife must respect her husband. What does biblical respect look like? Perhaps 1 Peter 3:2 will give it to you. Then they, our husbands, will be won over without a word by the way you live when they see your pure and reverent behavior. 1 Peter 3:3-4. Let your beauty not be external, the braiding of hair and wearing of gold jewelry or fine clothes, but the inner person of the heart, the lasting beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in God's sight. So in those two, what's God telling us? I think he's saying, you don't have to do all the talking. He will be won over without a word. Remember that. And remember that gentle spirit, which is so precious to God. Let's look at James 4:10. It might help us too. It says, humble yourself before the Lord, and he will lift you up. There are 3 areas in our lives that actually show respect. Our conduct, first of all, which includes our words and our actions. Gentle and quiet spirit and humility. Let's talk for a minute about the graciousness. Because a gracious woman adorns her husband. And graciousness can be described as a woman graced with wisdom and kindness. Proverbs 11:16. A gracious woman retains honor, and a strong man retain riches. And living this way, she does good to her husband. As he provides for her, she manages his household well, and she does him good and not harm all the days of her life. That's from Proverbs 31:1. Proverbs 31:10 says, an excellent wife who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. Proverbs 31:30. Charm is deceitful, beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. You see that, girls? Fear of the Lord is so important because that's where wisdom starts. And if we are going to be godly wives, we have to start with wisdom. You know, believe me, I understand all of this can be a tall order when we have so much on our plate. Babies, sleepless nights, cranky husband, grocery shopping, cooking, cleaning, sick kids, car problems, financial worries, fighting children, in-law problems. Should I go on? I think you get the point. This is not about us women becoming super wives or super moms. And I'm very serious about this. The Lord would have you look to Him for how to live this and make it through all of life's ups and downs. As you know, there will be many. The tendency, however, is to try to do it on our own and cope in our flesh. And the result of trying that is usually a woman who is anxious, nagging, resentful, and fretting. All of which He tells us not to do. Every one of those. Visually, it is wringing your hands all the time. I still have to fight this. But I know it's not the Lord's way. And when I keep myself in His peace by staying in His Word and receiving Him in the Eucharist, I find my heart and soul at peace. Do the messes still happen? Oh, you betcha. Yes. Does everything get done? No. Do I handle everything perfectly? No, no, and no. Do I fall down on the job of respecting my husband? Yes. But I know the Lord, and I know His way, and it's easier now for me to remain in His peace. And I find myself letting go and letting God. Life's not easy, but the Lord has our best interest at heart. He knows what you need and what will help you. Seek Him first, and all the rest will be added. We know that, don't we? But do we really believe it? You've got to try to do that. You'll be amazed at what happens. Psalm 37:4 says it best. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you your heart's desire. And by the way, delight is in the Bible 111 times. And most of it is man taking delight in God. I love that word. I delight in my husband, delight in my children and my grandchildren, and I delight and thoroughly enjoy the Lord. And yes, He has given me the desires of my heart. I know you might have some questions. You may have some comments, and you might even like to have a little help. Please feel free to contact us at awisewoman@stpaulcatholic.net. Our next presentation will be on making your house a home. Please join us. We love having you with us, and God bless you.